Welcome to day 18 of revising previous year question paper for UPSC 2027. In this video, I am going to cover GS4 of 2024. But as I already told in my earlier videos that I will not gonna cover case studies in this video. I will do it separately. For GS4, first I will go through the theory questions and thereafter I will make video of case studies like separately so that I and you, if you are watching, you all get familiar with how to approach the case studies and how to approach it and what kind of case studies they are asking in the exam. So in this video, you will get only the 13 theory questions. So let's get started. I already covered 2025 complete GS 1, 2, 3, 4. Again, the case studies were not there in GS4 of 2025 as well. So here I will cover the theory questions of GS4 and later I will upload the case study videos. Question 1. The application of artificial intelligence as a dependable source of input for administrative rational decision making is a debatable issue. Critically examine the statement from the ethical point of view. AI in public administration refers to data-driven algorithms supporting policy execution, resource allocation, and welfare delivery. Ethical examination. Merits of AI inputs. Enhances administrative rationality by minimizing human bias, accelerating welfare processing, example, automated DBT verification, and processing vast data sets for objective policy making. Ethical concerns and hazards. Algorithmic bias. AI system trained on historical data risk, perpetuating structural discrimination against marginalized socioeconomic groups. Erosion of empathy. Automated decision making lacks human compassion, discretion, and moral reasoning essential for public service. Black box and accountability deficit. Opaque machine learning models make it difficult to assign administrative responsibility when algorithmic errors deny citizens entitlements. This is the flow diagram. So AI should act strictly as an administrative decision support tool rather than an autonomous replacement for human discretion, upholding administrative empathy, transparency, and constitutional morality. Question 1b. Ethics encompasses several key dimensions that are crucial in guiding individuals and organizations towards morally responsible behavior. Explain the key dimensions of ethics that influence human actions. Discuss how these dimensions shape ethical decision making in the professional context. Dimensions of ethics represent fundamental frameworks, normative, personal, organizational, and societal, that define right conduct and guide moral choices. Key dimension influencing human actions. Meta ethics and normative ethics. Principles governing duties, deontology of Kant, and outcomes, utilitarianism, Mill. It's a name. Personal ethics, individual moral compass, conscience, and core integrity. Organizational professional ethics, codified standards governing professional duty, conflict of interest, and institutional integrity. Societal ethics, collective cultural values, and constitutional morality, shaping decision making in professional context. Resolving ethical dilemmas, deontological duty compels a civil servant to reject corrupt commands, prioritizing procedural propriety. Balancing public interest, utilitarian principles ensure welfare schemes maximize benefit for the most vulnerable, Antyodaya. Upholding accountability, codified codified conduct codified conduct rules enforce institutional transparency, impartiality, and conflict of interest disclosures. Integrating these dimensions transforms personal morality into institutional integrity, building public trust in governance. Question 2a. It is not enough to talk about peace, one must believe in it, and it is not enough to believe in it, one must act upon it. In the present context, the major weapon industries of the developed nations are adversely influencing continuation of number of wars for their own self-interest all around the world. What are the ethical considerations of the powerful nations in today's international arena to stop continuation of ongoing conflict? Realizing global peace requires transitioning from passive diplomatic rhetoric to active moral responsibility, constraining the military industrial complex, MIC, that profits from international conflicts. Ethic consideration for powerful nation, universal humanism versus profit, prioritizing human dignity and life, Article 3, UDHR, over corporate defense revenues and arms export profit, global justice and non-exploitation, acknowledging that weapon supply chains destabilize developing regions, causing mass displacement and human suffering. International stewardship, fulfilling obligations under UN Charter mandates to dismantle proxy conflicts rather than fueling regional arms races. Disarmament commitments, enforcing strict international arms trade controls, example, armed trade treaty, and halting defense lobbying that incentivizes war. Global leaders must shift from realpolitik profit incentives to ethical diplomacy, upholding Mahatma Gandhi's principle, there is no way to peace, peace is the way. Question 2b. Global warming and climate change are the outcomes of human greed in the name of development, indicating the direction in which extinction of organisms, including human beings, is heading towards loss of life on Earth. How do you put an end to this to protect life and bring equilibrium between the society and the environment? Climate change reflects an ethical crisis where anthropocentric greed overrides environmental stewardship, threatening terrestrial ecosystems and intergenerational equity. Anthropocentric greed, environmental degradation, ecocentric harmony. Steps to restore equilibrium. Shift to earth-centric ethics. Transition from anthropocentric exploitation to ecocentric sustainability, recognizing nature's intrinsic value. Institutionalizing climate justice, enforce common but differentiated responsibility globally, ensuring wealthy industrial economies fund green transition in vulnerable nations. Promoting sustainable consumption, embrace Mahatma Gandhi's dictum, Earth provides enough for need, not greed. Via initiatives like Lifestyle for Environment, Decarbonizing Development, mandate green technology, circular economy frameworks, and renewable energy transitions. Harmonizing human development with ecological limits fulfills our ethical duty towards biodiversity conservation and intergenerational equity. SDG 13. Again, I told in my yesterday's video that after every 2-3 question, or you can say in every alternate question, you will find the mention of this sustainable development goal, right? Whether it is polity like GS2, GS3, or GS1, even in GS1 and GS4. So go through it. I will make a list of all these sustainable goals, but these are important. You need to know what all are the sustainable goals, development goals. Question 3. Given below are 3 quotations of great thinkers. What do each of these quotations convey to you in the present context? Learn everything that is good from others, but bring it in and in your own way. Absorb it. Do not become others. This quote emphasizes openness to global best practices while preserving core cultural and personal identity, rejecting uncritical assimilation. Core relevance in governance and life. Administrative adaptability. Public administrators should adopt global governance models, example Scandinavian welfare, transparency or digital e-governance, while tailoring them to ground realities in India, resisting blind conformity. in an era of globalization, adopting Western developmental paradigms without contextual customization leads to ecological and social displacement. Self-reliance, Atmanirbhar Bharat, encourages absorbing technological and economic innovations without losing indigenous knowledge system or cultural values. Swami Vivekananda advocates a balanced synthesis, assimilating foreign wisdoms into one's unique framework to build authentic, self-reliant character and national progress. Faith is of no avail in the absence of strength. Faith and strength are both Faith and strength both are essential to accomplish any great work. Sardar Patel. This quote underlines that moral conviction, faith, must be backed by institutional, physical, and psychological capability to achieve meaningful real world transformation. Core relevance in governance and public life. Ethical, ethical courage in public service. Moral intentions remain ineffective without administrative fortitude. Civil servants facing political pressure requires inner strength to enforce the rule of law. State capacity and governance. Idealistic social policies, example, ending poverty or corruption, fail without strong statutory framework, enforcement mechanism, and state capacity. Historical and modern leadership. Sardar Patel integrated 565 princely states using diplomatic convention paired with firm administrative resolve. True leadership combines ethical, idealistic vision with pragmatic institutional strength, transforming moral goals into lasting administrative achievements. In law, a man is guilty when he violates the rights of the others. In ethics, he is guilty if he only thinks of doing so. Immanuel Kant. Kant contrasts the external standard of law, which penalizes visible acts, with the internal standard of ethics, which demands purity of intent and moral conscience. Core relevance in governance and life. Purity of intent. Deontology. Law penalizes illegal acts only after commission. Ethics governs the mind, preventing corrupt thoughts before they manifest into action. Beyond legal compliance, an administrator might exploit legal loopholes to act unethically while remaining technically legal. Kantian ethics demands absolute integrity, categorical imperative, cultivating moral character. In civil services, preventing corruption requires nurturing internal moral conscience alongside external anti-corruption status. Example, Prevention of Corruption Act. While law maintains basic social order, internal moral rectitude builds genuine personal integrity and corruption-free governance. The concept of just and unjust is contextual. The concept of just and unjust is contextual. What was just a year back may turn out to be unjust in today's context. Changing context should be constantly under scrutiny to prevent miscarriage of justice. Examine the above statement with suitable example. Justice is dynamic, shifting alongside evolving social Justice is dynamic, shifting alongside evolving social consciousness, constitutional morality, and scientific understanding. A practice considered legally or socially just in one era can be unjust as contextual awareness expands. Examination of the statement. Evolution of legal and social norms. Historical provisions like Section 377 IPC or criminalizing adultery once enjoyed legal sanction. As societal context evolved, the Supreme Court recognized them as violations of dignity and privacy. Navtej Singh Johar and Joseph Shine. Technological context. Indiscriminate data collection without explicit consent was once routine. Today, under personal data protection frameworks, it constitutes an unjust violation of informational privacy. Administrative discretion, emergency welfare protocols during crisis, example pandemic lockdowns, become unjust if perpetuated indefinitely during normal times. Preventing miscarriages of justice requires continuous ethical auditing, institutional adaptability, and upholding constitutional morality over rigid conservatism. Mindless addiction to form, ignoring the substance of the matter, results in rendering of injustice. A perceptive civil servant is one who ignores such literalness and carries out true intent. Examine the above statement with suitable illustration. Look, let me tell you something. This line, a prospective civil servant is one who ignores such literalness and carries out true intent. This such literalness means, you know, uh, in our system, not system, actually the entire nation, people are like lakir ka fakir, right? Even if you go through the previous judgments of the Supreme Court or policymaker or even the masses, like for example a traffic havaldar on the chalk on any square, right? They are like, they always go in the literalness of what is written rather than this the true intent. So it is not just about civil servant, it is the problem of the nation, right? People in our country, they just do not use their own brain, they are not using their common sense, or maybe they are lacking on it. They are just mere lakir ka fakir, right? Rather than using the brain. Anyway, this question is regarding civil servants, so let's read the answer. This statement highlights the conflict between bureaucratic red tape, red tape form and substantive justice substance. True administrative integrity lies in fulfilling the empathetic intent of a law rather than enforcing procedural literalism. Examination with illustration. Public welfare delivery. Denying food rations to destitute elderly citizens due to biometric authentication failure lacking fingerprints represents mindless addiction to form. A perceptive officer invokes discretionary executive powers to ensure food security. Disaster relief emergency, requiring formal paperwork prior to providing emergency medical care or shelter during flash floods, prioritizes procedure over life. Substantive ethics demands immediate life-saving relief first, completing documentation post-crisis. Legal versus moral duty. Rigid adherence to rules without compassion breeds administrative cynicism and public alienation. A perceptive civil servant balances procedural propriety with administrative empathy, ensuring that administrative rules serve as instruments of justice rather than barriers to human welfare. The code of conduct and code of ethics are the sources of guidance in public administration. There is code of conduct already in operation, whereas code of ethics is not yet put in place. Suggest a suitable model for code of ethics to maintain integrity, probity, and transparency in governance. While a code of conduct sets negative enforceable rules, what not to do, a code of ethics provides positive, value-based principle, what to strive for, to guide moral administrative judgment. Code of ethics, code of conduct, negative restraints, plus code of ethics, positive moral aspiration, complete integrity and probity. Suggested model for a code of ethics. Pillar 1, constitutional morality and public trust. Unyielding commitment to justice, liberty, equality, and prioritizing public interest over personal gain. Pillar 2, objectivity and impartiality. making decisions strictly on merit, evidence, and public interest without political bias or personal nepotism. Pillar 3, empathy and compassion, active dedication to serving marginalized and vulnerable sections. Antyodaya. Pillar 4, probity and openness, proactive disclosures of information, transparency in decision making, and complete financial honesty. Pillar 5, stewardship and accountability, responsible management of public resources and accepting personal responsibility for outcomes. Implementing a comprehensive code of ethics as recommended by the second ARC transforms administrative compliance into self-driven moral probity. Question 5. B. The soul of the new law, Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita, is justice, equality, and impartiality based on Indian culture and ethos. Discuss this in the light of major shift from a doctrine of punishment to justice in the present judicial system. The Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita replaces colonial era punitive jurisprudence with IPC 1860 with a victim centric framework rooted in Nyaya, reflecting India's civilizational ethos of rehabilitation and fairness. Major shift from punishment to justice, decolonization and restorative focus replaces colonial control mechanism with provisions focused on victim redressal and proportional justice. Introduction of community service incorporates community service as a statutory punishment for minor offenses, favoring reformative justice over custodial detention. Gender and child protection enhances penalties for offenses against women and children, upholding equal protection and bodily dignity, equality, and justice. Modernization and speedier trial integrates electronic records, forensic mandates, and strict timelines to eliminate delays and ensure impartial, accessible justice. This legislative paradigm shift moves Indian criminal jurisprudence from punitive colonial redistribution to transformative, victim centered constitutional justice. Question 6. In Indian culture and value system, an equal opportunity has been provided irrespective of gender identity. The number of women in public service has been steadily increasing over the years. Examine the gender specific challenges faced by female public servants and suggest suitable measures to increase their efficiency in discharging their duties and maintaining high standards of probity. Despite constitutional guarantees of equality, Article 14, 15, 16, female civil servants face systemic, structural, and cultural barriers that affect their professional efficacy. Gender specific challenges faced: dual burden and work life strain, managing demanding administrative postings alongside disproportionate domestic and caregiving responsibilities, institutional bias and stereotyping, assignment to perceived soft administrative departments rather than field enforcement or law and order assignments, workplace safety and isolation, lack of basic gender sensitive infrastructure, restrooms, childcare in remote posting, and risk of subtle workplace harassment. Suggested measures: institutional support, mandate crash, mandate crash facilities, flexible working protocols during early childcare, and safe transit in field duties. Gender neutral posting, gender neutral postings ensure equal representation in field leadership, example district magistrate, superintendent of police roles. strict enforcement Strict enforcement of POSH Act, robust internal compliance committees ICCs to guarantee a secure bias free environment. Empowering female public servants enhances administrative empathy, diversity and governance efficiency, fulfilling constitutional equality. Question 6. Mission Karma Yogi is aiming for maintaining a very high standard of conduct and behavior to ensure efficiency for serving citizens and in turn developing oneself. How will this scheme empower the civil servants in enhancing productive efficiency and delivering the services at the grassroots level? Mission Karma Yogi, National Program for Civil Services Capacity Building, marks a paradigm shift from a rules-based to a roles-based civil service, aiming to build a citizen-centric, future-ready bureaucracy. Empowerment mechanism for grassroots delivery. Role-based competency framework aligns individual official capabilities directly with specific job requirements using the FRAC's framework of roles, activities, and competencies model. Continuous lifelong learning. The I got Karma Yogi digital platform provides on-demand training modules, upgrading technical skills and soft skills, empathy, behavioral etiquette. Citizen-centric behavioral shift fosters a service-oriented mindset, shifting civil servants from passive rule enforcers to proactive problem solvers. Performance linked growth replaces subjective evaluation with continuous objective competency assessment, driving grassroots efficiency. Mission Karma Yogi empowers civil servant with modern skills and citizens first attitude, translating national policy vision into efficient last mile administrative delivery. Okay, so here the theory questions are done of the year 2024. We'll come back with 2023 ethics paper soon.